Hey guys, what's up? Welcoming to my YouTube channel. Hope all are you doing great. In this episode, I will explain December 25th, 2021 asked high complexity CPA question in C sharp. Without wasting time, let me open question first. Yes, this is the question asked in December 25th, 2021. Let me explain question first. Title Real Estate Management. Create a console application to do a certain operations based on the constant as given below. Let's see. Create a class property with the below properties. ID, data type as int, owner name, data type as string, type, data type as string, price, data type as double, address, data type as string. It means first we have to create one class name property. In this class we have to create all these attributes. Next, generate a necessary public properties. Create a constructor for property class which takes parameters id, owner name, type, price and address. Then assign the values for all these properties. It means after the creation of attributes, then we have to create one constructor for this property class. In this constructor we have to pass all these attributes. Next, create a class real estate with the attributes methods given below. It means again we have to create one more class. The name of that class is real estate. In this class we have to create some attributes and methods. Let's see attributes. List of type property, class name property. So we have to create one list. Name of the list is property. Type is property. Next methods. A method one. In this question, two methods they asked. In previous questions I explained right only one method they having. In this question they asked two methods. I hope everyone saw my previous videos. If not, I will post it in description. Please go and watch method 1. Only one method having questions. Okay, coming to this question. First method which takes a string argument as address. It means we have to take the input as address and returns the list of properties of object whose address attributes contains the given address string which is provided as an argument. This method will return the list of property objects in ascending order of id attribute from the instance. It means we have to check the input address matches the our objects of properties. If matches, then we have to print the ascending order of id in the output. This is the first method. Next, second method which takes a string argument as type. We have to take the input as string data type of type and counts the total properties of object whose property type is same as provided argument type. It means our input type matches the objects of properties, then we have to count. This method will return the count if the properties exist with the same type in the system, otherwise it will return 0. If the count is more than 0, then we have to print the count in output, otherwise we have to print 0. Next note, don't worry if you didn't understand, I will explain in coding part also. All comparisons are case sensitive. As usual in all questions they will mention like this only. Instructions to write main section of code. First, in main section, first we have to create one object for second class. The object name is manager. Next, after that we have to take the input of how many number of objects or properties present in the property. After that, for each property of object we have to take all the attributes. Next, after that again we have to take one integer type of variable. If the choice is entered 1, then the read of input of address and call method 1. If the entered 1 means, then we have to call first method. And first method it will check right. First in first method we have to take the address as the input, and like that first method it will execute. Otherwise, if choice entered 2 means, then that type we have to call method 2. That time we have to take the type as input, right? So second method it will execute. Don't worry, I will explain with the test case. Next, sample init description. First line we have to take the number of objects of properties. Next line we have to create all attributes for each object of properties. Next line we have to take again integer for calling method 1 or method 2. Next, after that in method 1 we have to take the one more input like string data type of address, and for second method string data type of type. This is the format of inputs. Let me explain with the test case. See, 4. 4 is the number of objects of properties present in the property. 1001 is the ID of first object of property. Richard Samuel is the first object of property owner name. Residential is the type, and 1,20,000 is the price, and XYZ building Hinjavedi Pune is the address of first object of property. All this related to first object of property. Next, 1002 is the second object of ID. Sonal Sharma name, owner name, residential type, 1,50,000 is the price. Next, Life Republic Marunji Pune is the address of second object of property. Next, 1003 is the third object of property ID. Next, Kritika Karna owner name, land type, 2 lakhs is the price, and XYZ Tower Infotech Park Hinjavedi Pune is the address of third object of property. Next, 1004 is the fourth object of ID. Next, Priya Chopra is the owner name, land is the type, 1,80,000 is the price, and Kohinoor building Patel Garden Pune is the address of fourth object of property. Next one is the input, right? Again we have to take for calling method 1 or 2. If we enter 1 means we have to call first method, otherwise we have to call the second method, like that. If they calling 1, right, so in first method again we have to take the address, right, as the input. So they took Hinjavedi is the address. Output it will come like this. How it will come I will tell. Let's see. Hinjavedi is the address they took, right? See, first we have to check Hinjavedi address matches the which objects of properties. Let's see. First objective property having address Hinjavedi, see, contains Hinjavedi, right? So we will consider first object. Next, second object didn't contain Hinjavedi, so we won't consider second object. Next, third object also containing Hinjavedi in address, so we will consider third also. And fourth didn't contain Hinjavedi, so we won't consider. So 1 and 3 having in address Hinjavedi, right? So again in those two objects we have to print in ascending order by IDs. See, ID first object 1001 and third object ID 1003. So ascending order means smaller value it will come first, right? So 1001 details it will first, after that 1003 details it will second. See 1001 all details it came first, and 1003 details second. Next I will explain sample test 2 for explaining method 2. See, all these input they took. After all inputs taken, next they took choice value 2. If choice 2 means I told, right, that time we have to call second method. In second method we have to take the input as type of string data type. They took residential. Output 2 came, right? How it came I will explain. See, residential is the type. Now we have to check the our input type matches the which objects of properties matches, that much count we have to print in the output. Let's see. Residential, first object containing residential type, so 1. Next, second object containing residential type 2, and third object containing land, so we won't consider. Next, fourth object containing land we won't consider, so only 2, right? So output 2. Like this we have to code. I hope everyone understood this question. If you didn't understood, don't worry, I will explain coding part 2. For that, let me open Visual Studio first. Yes, this is the Visual Studio. Let me start coding first. As usual, using system dot collections dot generic, using system dot link. First we have to create first class, right? The class name is the property. So let me create class first. Class property. In this class we have to create all these attributes. First attribute in type data type ID, right? So public int ID, public string owner name, public string type, public double price. Next, public string address. All these attributes I created. After that again we have to create one constructor, right? So now I will create constructor of the same name class, public property. In this constructor we have to pass all these attributes. So int ID, string owner name. So like this we have to create constructor, right? Why I used this means you hope you understood. I If not understood, please watch my previous videos. Definitely you will understood. This keyword represents the storing the current value. So like this, it will create all. After creating the constructor, next we have to create one more class. Name is real estate. So class real estate. In this class, we have to create first list, right, of attribute. So public list, list type as property and list name is property small p. This is the creation of list. Next I will create second list also. Public list property type, I will take second list name pro. Any name you will take your wish. After that, better to take one object of property. Public property name p is called new property. First, then after that, first we have to create first method one. So public, I am using void type method only. Void method one. In the first method we have to pass address as the input, right? So this is the string data type address add. In this method we have to create some logic. I will tell. First we have to use for each loop. As usual, if you use for loop means it will cross 200 lines easily, time bonus sufficient. So property p in property list, one by one property it will check whether the address contains or not. For that I am using if statement. If p dot address to lower, why I am taking to lower means in some test cases they will use different cases, right? So I am you all convert smaller cases. Lower dot contains is the inbuilt function in C sharp. It represents the containing that value or not. Like this we have to take. If it contains the same address, then we have to add those objects of properties to the pro list. So pro dot add like this. After all checking the objects, we have to come outside the loop. If pro dot count greater than 0 means, then we have to print in the ascending order, right? For that we have to use sort method. I told in second question, right? Using sort, how sort and reverse, how to use those inbuilt function. In this question also I am using that one only. So for that, pro dot sort x comma y x dot id compared to y dot id, like this. It means it will sort by ids. After that, using for each loop we have to print. So for each property p in pro list. Next we have to follow the same format. I will see format, see id colon, like that. So console dot write line first id, right? So p dot id colon p dot owner name, next colon, next p dot price. So only 1 2 3 we have to print. See in output also 1 2 3. Yes, this is the first method output format. After that, if count not greater than 0 means, in else we have to print no property found with the given address. No property found with the given address. This is the, I think, p small or case, so not this. This is the first method. Now I will create second method. Second method also I will use void type only. Public void method 2. In this method we have to pass this type, right, is the input. This is the string data type. In this method also we have to write some logic count, right? So first we have to initialize the count value is 0. Count is equal to 0. This is the integer data type, right? So I am taking integer. First we have to use, in for each loop we have to iterate each property. I am checking the condition, right, whether the type matches the given objects of properties or not. For that I am using if statement. If p dot type to lower dot equals of type dot to lower. Equal is also inbuilt function, whether it will check equal or not. So I am using equal. If it is equal, we have to increment count by plus one value. So after checking all the properties, we have to come outside the loop. Then we have to print if count greater than 0 means we have to print console dot right line of count. Otherwise, we have to print in else conditions like console dot right line. See, no property found with the given type. No property found with the given type. This is the format of output. After creating all method, now we have to write main method. For that, I'm using class, my class. In this class, first we have to create one static method, static void main string arc. In this method, we have to create all these attributes and all input format. In this method, first we have to create one object, right? For second class, real estate. So real estate object name manager new real estate. This is the object creation. After that, we have to take one input, right? Integer type for checking the how many objects of properties. Int n is equal to convert dot to in console readline. After that, for assigning all attributes of those properties, we have to use for loop. For int I is equal 0, I less than n, I plus plus. In this, first we have to create id, right? This is the integer type. So int id is equal to convert to it console dot readline. Next, string owner name. String owner name console dot readline. Next, again string type console dot readline. Next, double price convert to double console dot readline. Next, address. This is the string address console dot readline. After taking all these attributes, we have to assign all these attributes to list of property, right? So for this, manager is the object dot property is the list name dot add is the function new property all these attributes what and all id first owner name next type next price is and last address. After adding, we have to come outside the for loop and we have to take one more input integer data type for calling the methods. So in choice is called convert to dot to in convert to in console dot readline. If choice is equal to 1, then we have to take one more input as address that is string a console dot readline. After that we have to call the method 1. So manager method 1 in this method we have to pass address. This is the first method. Now else if choice is equal to then we have to take one more variable as input string type console dot readline. After that we have to call the second method manager dot method 2 in this method 2 we have to pass type like this is the solution of this question. Let me run whether it will. Finally we have to write console dot read key console dot read key Visual Studio. No need to write this line in exam. Let me run whether our logic correct or not. For this now I will run. Wait, it's loading. Yes, it's open, right? Let me enter all inputs. First 4 is the number of objects of properties and 1001 ID. Next, Richard Samuel is the owner name. Residential is type 1,20,000 is the price. Next, XYZ building Hinjewadi Pune is the address. Next, 1002 is the second object of property ID. Sonal Sharma is the owner name. Residential is the type. 1,50,000 is the price. Life Republic Marunji Pune. Next, 1003 Kritika Khanna is the owner name. Next, type is land. Next, 2 lakhs. Next, XYZ Tower Infotech Park Hinjewadi Pune is the address. Next, 1004. Next, Priya Chopra is the owner name. Land is the type. 1,80,000 is the price. Kohinoor Buildings Hotel Garden Pune. This is the input. Now I will call method 1. For that I will enter 1. Next input Hinjewadi is the address. I am expecting the output like this. Whether it will come or not, let's see. See, it came right. So our first test case passed. Now let me check second test case also. For that Again I have to start run. Wait, it's loading. Yes, it's loaded. Let me enter input. Now I am checking second method 2 and the type is residential. I am expecting the output as 2. Let's see whether it will come or not. See, 2 came, right? So our second test case 2 also passed. So whatever we build the logic, it's correct. This is the final solution of this question. I hope everyone understood this solution. If not, if you have any doubts regarding this solution, please comment below. Definitely I will reply to that. That's it for today. Stay tuned for upcoming uploaded videos. Until then, keep watching. Bye bye.